And we're live.
Doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, that one popped up in my feed, and I didn't read any deeper into it than the title, though.
But is this a whole subreddit?
Yeah,
what is it? Gay people?
Sappho
and her friend. Yeah, I get a kick out of it. Did I link it to you?
Yeah. I'm on it.
I don't know who Sappho is, but I'm quite sure that it's some historical figure who was also secretly gay. It's just like Alexander the Great or Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, that's one too. Like, I feel like... I don't know. There were a lot of gay guys back in Greek times, and they just weren't branded as gay, I guess.
Well, it was much more...
That's also been overplayed a bit, where like we stereotypically think like, oh yeah, everybody in Greece was just like fucking kids. It's like, no, most of Greece, like you couldn't just do...
I mean, I've talked about the Spartans and how the agoge worked, and how it would be very common for a young initiate to have an older man friend, and they would have sexual contact throughout like many years as he like an apprentice.
And if I recall, even all the other city-states at the time were like, yeah, Sparta's fucking weird, dude.
Well, they were weird. It was a pretty insane society.
Kind of cool though, looking back.
Yeah, I love 300.
Yeah, 300, exactly the same as what was going on back then.
Yeah.
The
what you have to keep in mind with 300 is like it's the reason it's fantastical.
The Peloponnesian Wars with Sparta and Athens, was that it? The
Peloponnesian War, yeah. It was, and the specifically the one after Darius was dead, and his son Xerxes came to try to make up for his father's failure in the first Peloponnesian War and invaded Greece, and they stopped him at the Hot Gates, and
that's when the movie gets good.
I've always questioned the reality of some of the numbers, right? Like, it's 300 versus what, 100,000?
Many more. So
I know there were more Greeks or something. So it was 300 plus 5,000 more or something like that versus 100 grand. Is that about right?
Probably more than 100,000.
There's no way to know because
they claimed a million, but probably 150,000.
Even
back then they would lie their asses off about military size. So like they would like the biblical battles. They'll be like, and 1 million people lined up to fight against the Hebrews, or whatever. It's like, no, they didn't. Like there were there 1 million people in that general region back then? I don't know.
That's where I always fall down. Even like Kyle said, 100,000 or maybe more. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
like that's a big battleground. 100,000? Like, how do you even get 100,000 people to fight? I feel like I'd be 9 rows back being like, Taylor, it's pretty cool. There's like no one's getting hurt right here, right?
This isn't like
you couldn't even fight at the same time.
So in the movie, obviously, it's like 1 million, but like almost all historians agree that it was 100 to 150,000.
Yeah, I just don't even know how you could know those things, you know?
Well, I mean, they were there counting.
The historians weren't there counting.
Some were.
Yeah, but historians back then are exactly
they wouldn't
like
be historians
today.
They'd be news reporters.
Yeah.
That's what historians were then. That's an old-timey news reporter. That's what a historian is.
I thought a historian was someone who looked at things that happened a long time ago.
I'm talking about the scholars that were alive then. And I'm sure they've got some sort of tabulation from the Persian side, right? Like they would have known how many men they brought. That would have been common knowledge.
Yeah, but I mean, it all gets. I would imagine it kind of gets lost to history.
And they only held them. They only held them for like a week.
They exaggerated how many people they brought, and I have a source. It's Taylor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know, they only held them for a week. And what you have to keep in mind is like the technological difference, and like the difference in the soldiers was massive. Like the Persians were smaller in stature, and their armor was like leather and literally wicker. Their shields were wicker. Like wicker baskets, like wicker. And the Spartans were wearing like forget what you saw in the movie. Obviously, they're all wearing like loincloths and capes.
Capes, yes.
They wore thick bronze armor.
Little did you know Jackie was a Spartan.
Yeah, that's what she's going for.
She's got a loincloth and a cape. No care.
They wore like thick bronze armor, you know they had long spears, and they were at the cutting edge of military technocracy at the time.
Yeah.
This is my favorite historical event. It's so fucking cool. It's why we have democracy today. Greece was democracy. That's where it came from. There was no more democracy anywhere else on the earth. The only place there was democracy was Greece. And the Persians were coming in to stomp that out. An empire was coming in to get rid of the last stronghold of democracy on the entire planet. The very idea was about to be extinguished. And those guys, defended that and won in the end.
Their democracy quite a bit different than ours. But yeah.
I also have a
overall,
feeling,
you're right.
I feel like democracy is a majority rule concept that would have come back and, it's a pretty simple idea that would have been brought into fruition again.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they were very
Maybe.
selective with with suffrage and things. Like I think some of the city states you had to serve like in their military to get a vote or a say in anything.
I think we need to bring that back. I don't think everyone should just be a citizen.
Yep, you should have to be trained with a gladius.
What if you don't
maybe
serve in the military?
That's Roman, not Greek, but I hear where you're coming from.
I don't care. You have to train with some kind of cool sword. How about that? It can be a samurai sword if you want. Just you have to be equipped. Yeah, that's the new rule. You have to be adept with a blade. and then you can.
Before you vote, you slice 24 water bottles. You vote.